Welcome everybody to the Irrelevant Information Society.
Well, that's not bad. Hey everybody, welcome to the Irrelevant Information Society. I'm your host Ryan. With me as always is
Richie. What's up, guys?
What would you have done if I had introduced Andrew before you?
Sued the show for everything it's worth.
Which is like the food that you've already eaten. I believe you'd have to throw that up in order to reclaim it. Anyway, and also Andrew.
Yeah, hello. I'll counter-sue you then. For emotional trauma.
As long as they're suing each other and leaving me the fuck out of this, I think I can survive just fine. And speaking of me surviving just fine, I had today's topic. I thought it was going to take more time for me to research than it was, but it turns out a lot of resources are pretty much together on the topic of birthdays. If you've had a birthday this month, this show is definitely for you.
If you had a birthday ever, this show's definitely for you.
If you're listening to this show and it's like within the month of your birthday, happy birthday, this show is for you.
If your birthday's already passed, happy late birthday.
Yeah, we
this show's for you.
If you're listening to this show and you enjoy it just a little bit, it's for you, and we appreciate it.
If you like one of us or all of us, this show is for you.
If you like none of us, this show's for you too. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I'm not that good of an editor. I can't cut out all the embarrassing bullshit. I'd probably keep some of it in just to think of it lively. Anyway, origin of birthdays. It seems very obvious, but birthdays were not necessarily celebrated until calendars were formed. Because otherwise, time was basically just the weather and phases of the moon. So, it doesn't necessarily say that they celebrated birth seasons at that point. In the phase of the moon requires so much math to predict what's out. I don't think that would have been viable. I think they would have just, whenever the seasonal festival comes, would have just associated it with them. But, yeah, if you don't have a calendar, you don't have a birthday. Surprising? No one. However, multiple sources agree that the concept of the birthday started in Egypt around 3000 BCE. And it coincided instead with the coronation of the pharaoh, because his coronation to pharaoh, the pharaoh is also considered the embodiment of God. So, when you are king to be, Richie, in Egypt, when you get crowned the actual king, then you get to be celebrated as your rebirth as a living God. And because, it was an important person, that's really celebration. Coronation Day / birth of the new God among men, our ruler, Pharaoh. No longer. May he rest in peace. Sort of continuing that was the Greeks. And they actually started the candle in the cake thing. Using a cake of a moon crescent cake to Artemis with candles added to them. So a lot of this pre-individual birthday stuff has to do with celebrating the birthdays of gods. It is much later on down the line that the birthdays for the individual person comes. Surprise, surprise, the individual birthdays for men was celebrated hundreds of years before the birthdays of women. Surprising no one.
Absolutely no one.
But we'll get to that. The reason that the Greeks put the candles in there is when they blew them out, they were they signified prayers, and blowing them out was the smoke taking the prayers and whatever to upwards, the sky, to Olympus. And so, that's the pretty much one for one of celebrating the birthdays and or festivals of the gods that they worshipped. There is a adjacent thing, Europe, and I believe, in Europe, birthday candles were left burning all day to ward off evil, because people believe that you are most susceptible to evil on your birthday. So, if you know somebody who seemed like an okay person for most of their life, and then after their birthday seemed to be just a fucking piece of shit, it's not growing, it's not trauma.
They are possessed by evil spirit.
And you could kick the shit out of them. So, that's what the history books teach us.
It's okay to beat them up if they're possessed, but if they're still a great guy, don't beat them up.
So Romans were the first birthdays of non-religious figures, but only men. A 50th birthday would mean a special honey cake made with grated cheese. So, I wrote down female birthdays not celebrated until the 12th century.
It's quite a while.
Yes. Surprising. No.
That's not shocking.
Christians originally believed birthdays to be pagan rituals, which, depending on the region, I could easily understand why, because of, depending on where you are, if it's still being carried over as a celebration of a god instead of the people, and then other things celebrated people. When you're out there converting, you never know what you're going to find. People and their fucking grated cheesecakes. And it's Roman too. Probably would have been like.
I can see why people became evil after their birthdays.
Yeah.
Eating cakes of cheese.
Parmesan cheese probably too.
But surprise! At the 4th century, which I remind you is still 8 centuries before women got to celebrate their birthday. They changed their mind because they wanted to celebrate Jesus' birthday. Parentheses, Christmas. Parentheses, taking over winter solstice. So they said celebrating your birthday is okay, but only if we celebrate our God's birthday first. Yeah. And that's kind of where it kicks. So I just wrote down a bunch of other stuff. Oh, Germany started celebrating Kinderfest, which is reminiscent of birthdays we have now, which is part of celebrating birthdays, celebrating children birthdays, and adding candles per year of the child being alive. Although China was the first place to celebrate a child's birthday. I mean, if you think of how young the emperors can get, if they're doing it in line with a lot of... I don't feel like they do it in line, because this is a lot of Western history there. But, China... Well, child emperors, whatever. You could see some of the crossover. And it was the Industrial Revolution that made cakes cheaper, because the ingredients were luxury before, and because of this, all the research was like, oh yeah, Marie Antoinette, let them eat cake. I'm like, okay, that's not really a birthday thing. I understand where you were going there, but that's a cake thing, not a birthday thing. Also, the original birthday song is a rip.
Oh.
Yes, it was originally written in 1893 by Pat Hill and Mildred J. Hill as a school song. Good morning to all. I've even written it down. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Oh. Okay, fine.
You gonna sing it to us?
I realize I kind of have to.
You already started.
Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Good morning, dear children. Good morning to all.
Kind of creepy.
Yeah.
It is kind of creepy, yeah.
Yes, it is the song, not me, that is creepy.
The song of their people. Don't make fun of it.
Well, the thing is, not really a song of their people. So it's sung before class began. And over the years, people were adding lyrics. Because, I mean, it's the same tune. Yeah, we're adding lyrics, taking things away, just doing whatever with it. And Robert Coleman published a songbook in 1924 with extra lyrics that overshadowed the original, featuring all these variations, including the birthday song itself. That being said, oh, okay, no, I know I have that there. That being said, Richie, what is the most common birthday?
9.
No, month and day. You get points if you do the month, and then you get double. Well, you get the gold star if you get the birthday and month.
April.
No. Andrew.
I want to say probably June.
No. Any second guessing? No. October 5th is the most common birthday. And it's because 9 months before October 5th is July 1st. So, on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, in case anybody was confused, people fuck.
Weird.
And the lack of history in other places is generally seen to be tied to a lack of wealth, which is understandable. If you don't have the money to celebrate, you're not really going to record celebrating. Oh, and look at that. Almost 15 minutes and I'm done.
Nice.
Yeah, that once again, not many people had really diverting information. This is not me using Wikipedia. I used a bunch of different resources, and they all pretty much said the exact same thing. So, there's that. And now I have nothing. I guess I just have to hope that my co-host can help me out by asking questions and having a nice conversation. But I don't think that's gonna happen.
And there's not much to ask about birthdays, though.
Yeah. I was like, what kind of question could I ask about?
Yeah, because they even talked about the cakes.
Yeah.
Like it was like there's like basic honey cakes, which were like seemingly described to be like honey bread in Germany, and then they fucking added cheese, grated cheese to it in Rome. I mean, I guess that'd be like when the first frosting is.
Yeah. When did cake become sweet rather than cheese?
Well, I think it was always sweet because if they're like honey bread.
Yeah, if it was honey bread, yeah, it would have been sweet. Alright. The cheese would just add like more of like a savory.
Does that mean like in Egypt because of the probably lack of... I don't know what... I assume they would have had maybe a lack of... No, they might have good. Like Egypt, you don't necessarily think of it as being fertile all the time, so it's like... So their cake was like honey naan.
You have any questions from doing the research?
I think what I wanted to find out is whether or not there is any evidence of like cave people, because I remember reading that the reason that people are so protective over children, even if they're not your children, if you are the sort who likes children, was because it came from the thing where everybody you knew was your clan, your cave, your family, and protecting the youngest was important. So it's like almost like ancient memory / instinct from that. And you'd think that and I was wondering if like, okay, if you have a small clan or whatever, especially in those where anything and everything can kill you, like I would be interested to see how the statistic of how many people scientists think died from stepping on a blade of grass incorrectly.
Oh no, I got grass poisoning.
Yeah, like it was like I wouldn't be surprised if their word for a rolled ankle or broken ankle was grass poisoning. But like with how it is, like you'd think that every birth in the small tribe would be celebrated. And as we know, we have cave paintings, it'd almost be like, okay, so like even an indication of them being happy about the birth of like a child, even like one person. That's kind of what I was hoping to look for, find. Like, see how way back, maybe see where it got lost along
So
the
before,
way.
was it like a group celebration? Like,
Yeah,
okay, today is Steve, Tom, Andy, Dave. Hi, Dave.
How you doing, Dave?
Well, I mean, that's kind of what they did in the Great Depression, which is like, whatever kid could afford to have the cake, and then everybody had their birthday month there when nobody could afford to do that at all. But yeah, instead it's like, no, first we celebrated the various gods and or pantheon and their individual seasonal festive days, and then from there, once there it became okay, so I guess the Romans ruined / improved it for us by saying, nah, people are just as important as gods. This will surely not come down and ruin anything. Yeah, I guess I was trying to look for more ancient tribal indications of celebrating.
I guess like what also would be interesting is the different ways of celebrating.
Yeah, that I was gonna pull up Wikipedia because it did have a bunch of like, here's a bunch of cultural things, because the article itself is also very short. And I even summarized a lot of this stuff, but I still got like a lot of the details.
It's very thorough.
This is 4 websites. So, hey, kids, if you want to write a really quick essay on fucking birthdays, you could probably tie this into money, history. Like, there's a lot of stuff that this could. And this is like this took me like an hour and a half. It was like the shortest amount of research I've ever fucking done. And then I went back to playing Mafia 3 because it feels very poignant with what's going on in real life right now.
So some other places in the world, instead of cake, like, I don't know how true this is, but South Korea does like seaweed soup instead of a birthday cake.
Sounds like a punishment.
Personalized pies in Russia.
Like beef? Mm-hmm. I'll take a beef one. Or cherry.
Fairy bread in Australia.
Here's your piece of bread. Enjoy.
Look, from the picture, it looks like it's has some sort of filling. It's buttered bread and tiny hundreds of thousands of sprinkles.
I think now is the perfect time to talk about something completely different that I've done no research on, and it is a completely opinion-based piece. I don't buy sports games because of microtransactions. I hate all microtransactions. I will usually only buy single-player games for them. I know we touched on it with Andrew's thing, but fuck your game if it has microtransactions. Thoughts?
So, microtransactions are...
I mean, technically,
the new way.
Macro. Yeah.
Well, I mean, technically, it is some sort of gambling, though.
Oh, so I guess there's 2 different ways. There's microtransactions where it's like, hey, no, you can pay for this custom thing, and then there's the one where it's like, hey, you pay for a box that has custom things. That loot boxes are definitely.
Yeah. So one of them is pay to win. That's the way that's more gambling wise. Mm-hmm. And the other one is, like you were saying, gets accessories, outfits, and all that, which isn't as bad, but it still is like gambling though too.
Definitely.
There are a couple games that I feel like have done okay, and so I might be incorrect, but I think Titanfall 2. I know their single player has no microtransactions as a standalone story, but seeing as they have a multiplayer, it might have accessories like paints and stuff. But I don't think it has any pay to win. And that's when I think it's okay. Basically what I'm getting at is, as long as it's not in my single player, I don't care, which is also why I haven't played sports games, because I always like doing my own created character and just ruining stats that were made in history by getting like 15 touchdowns in the game. But like nowadays, they say they like, oh, you could skip the grind and then have a sense of accomplishment. I'm like, well, it's not a sense of accomplishment to buy it out. It's a sense of accomplishment to get better.
So at that point, like if you're buying it, that's being lazy.
Yeah.
Grinding has a sense of accomplishment,
Well,
all that.
And I think we've found that there is a point where you can have too much grind, and then that's why like Assassin's Creed Origins, like, hey, time savers, we increase the amount of XP you get for each thing. Skip the grind, and I agree with Yahtzee and Jim Sterling. I think Yahtzee said so. It's like, but I mean, I know Jim Sterling has where he's been like, you made the grind, you've put it in there. This thing, it is a standard create a problem to sell solution, when it's like nobody asked for that. It was not a problem before you made it a problem.
There's some things that actually make the grind good, like Monster Hunter World, for example. That actually made the grind worth something, though, too. Where you literally go kill a monster, then you can make armors out of it, or weapons.
Gives you something to do and try to achieve.
Yeah.
Gives you more of a sense of accomplishment instead of just buying it outright to have it. A lot of people spend a lot of money on games like that just to have the exclusive skin.
Like when Battlefront 2 came out, legitimately it was like pay to win because you had to literally buy loot boxes and get heroes.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't that the one where they said they weren't going to do that, and a few months in did?
And that's where Disney got really pissed off at him for.
And the U.S. started actually looking at legislation and stuff to look at them, and they pulled it back. Which I got it when it went for free on PlayStation. So now it's like, you got loot boxes, and then you open the boxes, and it's just like holograms of nothing.
Yep.
It's like, neat.
I think the Overwatch one was pretty bad with that stuff. Like, here's stickers and voices and all kinds of stuff.
It's skins.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, food's here.
Yep. I will say that the really good thing about Overwatch is they didn't lock characters behind. That when they updated, they gave you the characters for free.
Yeah, they already gave you the characters, so you don't have to pay for it at all, which is good and all that. Yeah, but loot boxes is another thing that's just.
Oh yeah.
Right now, it would just be me and Richie, the favorites.
When I order, I know that they come with drinks, with Pepsis and stuff, but on the app, on the Grubhub app, it doesn't let me choose the drink, so there's a failure of communication between the restaurant and the app, and it confuses the drivers and or shorts the patrons. Grubhub. Yep. I'm not going to blame the place because they're very good. They've been very good to me. I accidentally ordered on 2 separate occasions the wrong thing, and they've redone my order for free, even though I've offered to pay them. So there's no beef with them. Grubhub.
Come on, brothers and sisters. Whatever.
And they're eating chicken again. Chicken wings and fries. Surprise, surprise.
Are we just gonna record lunch?
Yeah, I guess it'll give me something to do.
Brainstorm something to talk about real quick.
Right. You guys want fucking plates because
we're not monsters.
Like me. Yeah.
How dare you say we're monsters? Just because me and Richie comes from monstrous backgrounds doesn't make us full of monsters.
Yes, Mom, I am sorry. I do consider myself a degenerate from time to time. Oh, jeez. So, I think I just need to plan to always have 2 things because...
I mean, you're very thorough with that topic.
Yeah.
To where we couldn't, ask anything.
Yeah, I seem like I'm... Well, it also was, a problem with the last one. It's like, I just seem to get thorough... be very thorough on my topics. So it's like, alright, I should always just make sure I have 2 prepared.
Mine are very vague, so...
Well, and I think... So the vagueness probably implores the
questions.
Leaves
more to be desired.
Right. So let that be known. if you're actually studying for something and it happens to be something we're talking about, hope that it's an episode that I'm doing because you'll get all of that information right up the top. If you're brainstorming, listen to a Richie episode. If you want to hear a conversation, listen to an Andrew episode. I think that's about right.
I mean, the one episode I did, you guys didn't really ask much questions.
Yeah, but we did have a conversation.
Yeah.
So here we go. We have a conversation on one side, nothing but questions on the other, and then an instructor talking down to you in the middle.
These wings are like tiny and cute.
Whatever, it's my fucking show and it's my equipment. Fuck you guys. Here, try one of these honey ones.
Yeah.
No, you ruined it with your barbecue fingers. No longer honey, now it's honey barbecue.
Yeah, so now I get like one day off. So what do you think we should talk about for the next half hour?
Already with what needs to be added, I can tell this is like a 25-minute episode.
So far.
The thing is, you're really tired. I'm sort of tired, and then we got to make characters for the D&D thing, which will be what else we do after this, unless you want to go home for a bit before that. If I thought about it, I would have talked about fairness in games, like the RNG stuff, and like what does it feel? Where does the feeling of fairness come from? Why does it feel like any game with dice that you roll in a digital thing, like the randomness RNG generating there seems more unfair than failing at a board game that's physically in front of you?
Definitely.
It's like
even buy one during that one.
Hmm?
Can you buy one during that in that one?
Possibly. I'm also doing laundry and I need to clean the bathroom.
Yeah, I haven't even thought about a next topic yet.
Oh, good news. It's all on Andrew's shoulders after this.
Well, that's good. Gives me some time.
I assume that you're going to become like, I would like to see you like super into your job. And your next topic, you're like, I know I said I was talking all about drugs, and I'm going to keep this thing. Man, forklifts are great. Like, what? Yeah. Forklift is like a drug, man.
You ever drove a forklift?
Well, it's definitely going to have some stuff like that. Like TCG and coffee.
Have you drove a forklift high on coffee?
Let's talk about the real drugs here. Card games is the biggest drug. Like, you remember buying booster packs, just getting all addicted? And then the internet introduced, like, buying singles. And you're like, I'll just build my deck. That guy who has a car obsession.
Or, in your case, a forklift obsession.
A deck obsession. Like, what's the newest deck everybody's playing? Oh, that looks pretty fun. I like winning.
Be careful. Richard's gonna build a forklift deck. Nothing but forklifts.
I'm trying to think of that name of that famous machinery brand. Cat something.
Oh yeah, no, it is Cat.
Cat. Here's my cat forklift in attack mode.
Forklifts versus TB dinos.
Does anybody ever win?
Yeah, very good question.
I play oil and food decks. I just make sure your forklift's oiled and these dinos are fed. Look at that. All these creatures are destroyed and I win.
You guys hear about that eco clock that was made?
No.
So it's a clock that counts down to our demise.
Oh.
And it's if nothing changes about the environment, it counts down when the ozone layer will be depleted and will fry.
How? Where are we at?
Who knows? But it shouldn't be too long, it says. Which, if you think about it, does that really surprise you?
We're gonna die soon because too many people are fucking stupid and don't think personal responsibility is definitely a thing that should be taken with the environment. Surprising no one.
So in a zombie apocalypse, would you let people in to your community? Like a bunch of randos?
Probably not.
They have to pass some tests.
Honestly, it'd probably be safer not to actually have a community to begin with.
You go through supplies too quickly.
And people other communities running through would want to also have those supplies, and if you deny them, they'll try and break in and make everything worse for you. So it's better if you're just a nomad, like fucking Mad Max style.
A small group wouldn't be terrible. But I'm not saying like start like their own little city.
So what would your ideal survival group be? Number consistency wise.
Less than 15.
How about you?
I want to say at least 10.
I'd say 10 to 15, because that way most everybody can do the same job at so you have 2 people pretty much per job. Mm-hmm. You have enough people to do rotations in terms of lookout and stuff.
Lookout, you can have 2 hunters.
Yeah, 2 scouts for supplies and shit. I mean, bigger than 15, you're gonna have people who want fucking leadership, and personal issues are gonna become more unbearable.
Yeah.
Jenny said she was my girlfriend, but ever since the apocalypse started, Paul's been moving in.
I find that very disturbing, seeing as Jenny is also a zombie. I really hope you should dump her.
Sorry, guys, I killed Jeannie the other day.
Oh.
She was with Richie and Paul, and she was giving Ryan some problems, and now I put her down.
She bit me in the foot, and now I have to die. So is it most beneficial in a zombie apocalypse to kill yourself, or to rig yourself with an explosive and try and kill as many other zombies as possible as well?
Only if you're bitten, then yes, explosives probably will work a lot better.
Explosives are cool.
But then it's also all the resources to make the explosives.
Well,
I think potentially you'd create more zombies than you'd kill more zombies, depending on how powerful the explosive is.
Well, I mean, if it's anything like The Walking Dead, people are already infected anyways.
Yeah, which is a concept.
Yeah.
What if people weren't?
I mean, if they weren't infected before, then...
But they could get infected.
Yeah, you're thinking about how the infection is. If it's spread through the bite, or if it's airborne.
Never seen anybody, like they say in The Walking Dead, that if you even get scratched, you could potentially turn. But nobody ever gets scratched and turns.
No.
It's always a bite.
And also, if you know, why would you not wear 3 layers of long sleeve?
Yeah.
Because it's it's obviously basic padding would do a lot.
But I'd imagine if there's so many of them, like there would be, that you can't protect every inch of yourself.
No.
I mean,
you can just and move, kind of waddle.
Just make yourself some high-tech juggernaut armor. Put some spikes on them too. No, the easiest thing to do is make Molotov. Which probably will be your
no
best.
more alcohol for Richie.
The problem with that is that they would still live. They'd just be on fire till their brain melted.
Yeah, which is the part where you need that to destroy anyways.
So you got a walking army of flaming zombies.
Your 2 hunters are in the woods. What's that
bright light?
What's that bright light? That's this nasty, it's burning, rotten smell. Oh shit!
Flaming zombies, no.
My worst nightmares come true.
So, you guys seen, Enter the Gungeon?
I played it before here.
And stuff like that? What do you think the most interesting, created weapon is? Kind of fun, for instance, in, Grand Theft Auto, you could shoot, cars out of a gun.
Saints Row the Third. I don't know if you guys played it, but, it's something called a dildo bat. It's long, it's bright pink, as long as a baseball bat. You can just run around with it and just smack people. I mean, another funny outfit from there is you can dress up as a sex doll too. Sex doll on a toilet.
Oh man.
So Maggie's running around with a dildo bat and dressed as a sex doll or something like that.
Yeah.
I think the air tortoise is still my favorite, and the I forget which version of the assault rifle, but they're both from the same game.
I mean, it is South Park game for the 64. It was a weapon that literally shot cows at people.
Shoot cows at people.
And the heads of the person will literally be in cow's ass.
Logging my food.
Are you counting calories?
Yeah, I'm back to using this again, yeah.
That sounds awful.
It's not too bad. But yes, the air tortoise. I know I've already told you guys about it. It's the lock-on rocket launcher from Earth Defense Force that you shoot and it'll catch on people. And it has a blast radius of a nuke. Which a nuclear grenade is one of the first weapons you unlock in that game too. It's fucking dumb. But you shoot it and then you could walk past it.
Going off.
Slowly ascending and going towards its target. And my other favorite weapon from that series specifically is it's an assault rifle. So it looks like the basic assault rifle. It has, however, the highest damage of any of the assault rifle variants because there's one that shoots only in a V. This one, however, has like the accuracy of 0.1. So the idea is you let the giant ants swarm all over you, and then you just shoot forward. And the bullets will fly 90 degrees behind you, in front of you, generally everywhere. Like you don't have to turn around and spray and pray. You just shoot in the first thing, and the gun's atrocious accuracy will shoot everywhere for you. That's one of the funnest guns I've come across because it's just like, oh, all right, I'm getting mobbed.
One of my favorite guns was from Fallout. The experimental Fat Man shoots like 8 mini nukes at once. There's nothing better than standing on the ground, firing that, and watching everything in yourself just melt away.
That reminds me of another gun from Saints Row the Third. It's called, I think it was called the Chum Launcher, or shotgun. You shoot meat and blood on people, and a shark comes out of the ground and just eats them.
That's cool. I like ragdoll effects of the characters too. When they die, everything has to fall out like a Family Guy character.
And that is one of my favorites. Like I guess I was playing Red Dead Redemption. All of a sudden, I'm hiding behind a rock. All of a sudden, I can see a body fly over the rock. And then right next to me.
Anybody seen some awesome glitches lately? Like some FIFA glitches?
No. Apparently, it was a glitch. Like, me and a friend were playing yesterday. That GTA. I went behind the counter while she was buying some weapons. When she apparently got out of it, I was apparently rising up behind the counter right next to the guy.
Trying to think. No, like it's not glitches. I've been playing a lot of the original Roller Coaster Tycoon. So I've noticed that if you're ever in a park and they already have rides pre-made, that the game is going to destroy the ride at some point. Because I had a scenario where it's like double the park's value. I'm like, okay, and I was there, like I was over there, and then it's like, oh, this ride crashed, killing like 26 people. I'm like, what the fuck? So then I reloaded the save, and I'm like, okay, we're just going to increase the maintenance. So maintenance guy is going to show up every 10 minutes to make sure this ride's going on. I forgot to mention, when it crashed like a month before the deadline, so it plummets the park value. And I'm like, you're a piece of shit. So then I did it, and like, okay, again, like 10 minutes. Reload. Oh no, it crashed. I'm like, oh, okay. So what was happening was the station brakes were malfunctioned, so the incoming train would crash up against the one that's already parked and would blow up and kill the people. And I'm like, okay, well, here's how we're going to solve this. I know there's a long line for these pre-made things that have already been here. Close the ride. Make it a one-train ride. Open the ride. Crash that, you piece of shit.
Oh no, it's flying off the rails.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something you can do intentionally. Like, shuttle loop and speed it up by 70 miles per hour.
Whoa, there you go.
Goodbye.
Yeah. Have fun.
Of course, the most recent one, I had a similar thing where it destroyed 2 rides. but I was already in the middle. I had made like 2 other rides that thing, so it didn't affect me at all. The value immediately
it rose it.
No, like it plummeted the value after you sell it, like the ride itself, like recycle trash it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird because like there's nothing you can do, because even if you go and like sell all those parts that are broken and then like refit it with new parts, it'll still say crashed and people won't go on it anyway.
Oh,
so
man.
You have to sell it. You have to devalue the thing, and it's like, okay, but so I have no choice but to sell it. And you're telling me that's the reason why this thing is destroyed? In real life, they replace the parts and in a month or 2 after an inspection, people are usually okay with getting back on it carefully. Like, they don't just be like, oh, we had car crash, 3 people died, nobody's going on there, we better sell it. And there's supposed to be a realistic game simulation too.
Like Goat Simulator? Hey,
Not
that's
like
realistic.
Or Grass Simulator?
I like being the spider goat. It's like Spider-Man, but he's the goat.
You want to know what the best game is?
I'd just be the same goat all the time.
Well, you're like this one. Passport Simulator?
Passport Simulator.
You have your passport?
Everybody's right now playing like Stardew Valley games.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, man, they've acquired land through no means of their own, and they're allowed to make their own wealth. Of course, people are gonna play Stardew Valley and stuff like that.
Work Simulator.
Yeah, but
I mean, if they want to be a farmer, they could have just played Farming Simulator.
Yep.
They do. Apparently, it's very popular.
Tractor Simulator. That's great.
That's pretty much what it is. It's just,
I have the PC build simulator, but it also teaches you how to build PCs, and it has a free creative mode. So if you're like, I'm thinking of buying these parts, and they use real parts, like the names of them and stuff, so you could put together a PC in the game and test it out and like see what the graphics thing would be and be like, okay, that's what I want. And then you could write down a shopping list based on all the parts that you made to make your fake PC, and those are parts that exist in real life, and you could buy and make your real PC that you made in the fake PC world, which is actually pretty great. Because it like teaches you, it's like, hey, believe it or not, a PC is like only like 8 parts. It's only 8 things that are important. Your power supply, your motherboard, your graphics card, your processor, your RAM, and your hard drive, and your cooling fan, and your box that you put it in. That's it. 7 to 8 parts. That's all you need.
A lot of people are building PCs now. I feel like I'm going to get better graphics than your Xbox and your PlayStation. Yeah, for triple the cost.
triple the cost.
Yeah. I mean, it's cheaper than like, I guess what I've been told, and I'm sure you've been told, like, even though there's like the iBuyPower and CyberPower ones, that is not that great in terms of everything except for the graphics card that they got, which is why they're so expensive. But it's like, if you really want and you're not sure what to do, you could go ahead and buy one of those and then slowly start replacing it with better parts that cost less. Because it's like, with the discount that you used to have, that I still have, it's like, oh man, why not just get a 4 terabyte hard drive? Like, yeah, they're like $150, like $70, $80, but like with the discount, it's probably going to be less, and also a 4 terabyte hard drive.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy the video software. Oh, and I'm not sure if you know this, but SoundCloud, I've taken up all the free space. I'd have to start paying the subscription in order for the unlimited to upgrade from a free user to a paying user.
Oh man.
Yep.
I mean, YouTube doesn't charge you anything though.
Yep. So we might be exclusive on YouTube for a while.
Oh.
Unless one of you two want to fucking chip in. Any takers?
Like and subscribe and leave dollar bills in the comments.
$5 a comment.
My Patreon's only $1 a month, so. Oh, speaking of that, hey Cody, you probably won't listen to this until like way back. It'll be really awkward if you actually listen to it like when one or multiple of us are already dead. But thanks for being a patron. Hope you have a good day.
That is our one patron.
Yeah.
Hey Cody.
Yeah.
Ryan appreciates you. I appreciate you. Richie doesn't know you, but he probably appreciates you. Don't you, Richie?
What you thinking about?
Mild intimidation used.
Yeah, so you won't know this except for this part, and you'll try to, well, it'll be pretty easy to figure out what and where I cut. But this is probably going to be a really super short episode as we're coming up on an hour in terms of recording time. It's probably only going to be like a half hour at the most. Just because...
But now we know, maybe 2 topics.
Yeah, I have to do 2 topics because apparently my high school level of research is like AP high school level of research.
Well, mine and Richie are just basic bitches.
We're getting C's here.
I mean, you are. I mean, at least a B.
Hey, I copied off of you. How did I get a C?
Because you got this question wrong.
We got the same answer.
Right. I'm sleeping with the teacher.
Well, just to give away the game, Andrew is playing Among Us. Vote for him every time you come across him. I don't know what his username is. You want to tell everybody who you are so they can, so you know every time people vote for you, you can accuse them of listening to your podcast.
It is Sigmus. It's like my username on Xbox and PlayStation. Sigmus Prime.
Yep. So when you see Sigmus Prime on a Prime, vote for him no matter what. That being said, Richie still is invisible to the internet world and actually invisible to the daylight world because he has those night shifts. Mm-hmm. I'm Ryan. I'm here. The Irrelevant Information Society. Like, share, subscribe. Not this one though. It was kind of just boring. Go to like the one previous.
Like it anyways.
Like it, yeah. What are you telling them?
Go to a Patreon. I'm trying to just be real with the people. Consider subscribing to a Patreon. I only charge $1. I do other stuff, including sketches, like actually paper and pencil.
Lots of moose stuff.
No, there's no moose stuff. I mean, I guess there could be. If you want me to draw a moose, I could draw you a moose.
He draws geese riding moose.
I have never done that, but I could if you pay me. Yeah, there's a bunch of other stuff on Patreon that is not necessarily just this. Please check it out. There should be a link in the description below. And
we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.